It is a new week, and it's going to be a really busy week for In Depth. We have a few big segments coming. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, the state pension plan, and how North Carolina invests your tax dollars. Remember, this segment is fueled by your feedback. We got a lot of questions on those topics. You can send emails to dan@WRAL.com. Let us know, what is the news missing? What should we be talking about? What do you want to see us cover? I always try my best to respond directly or to answer emails here on WRAL News at 7. John hit me with a per my last email. He wrote, I realize the chances of you responding to this email are minimal, just hoping you read my previous email. John, we looked for it. We couldn't find your previous email. Did you send it? Are you sure you hit send? Send it again. Send me your question. We'll get into it. We got a lot of good feedback after our segment on THC-infused drinks, including from a store that sells them. We showed you these pictures here of THC drinks on a shelf at a local store, and the store did one of those Leonardo DiCaprio's where it's like, whoa, 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 I think I see it, from, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They recognized the shelf from their store. Brenda sent me this picture of the THC drink segment amongst the THC drinks. She wrote, just wanted to show you our latest edition. We think it looks nice. What a great email. Thank you so much. And we get so many great emails. Tonight's segment is going to focus on one of them that we got from Bruce. He wrote, why isn't WRAL comparing President Clinton's layoffs to those of President Trump? So, Bruce, that is a good point. Thank you for pointing that out. It is a very interesting comparison. And to be fair, lots of other news outlets have done this coverage. Time Magazine, CBS News, CNN, NPR, AP News, Forbes. They've all done comparisons looking at the differences, the things that are like and not alike between Clinton and the things that Trump is doing. Even Elon Musk pointed this out on X. He posted what Doge is doing is similar to Clinton-Gore policies out of the 1990s. And it is true. 30 years ago, President Bill Clinton made it a priority to give the taxpayer a more efficient government. Those were his words, not mine. There are some similarities. I mean, even the acronyms are pretty similar. Today, you've got the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, and in the 90s, you had Reinventing Government, which they called REGO. It doesn't stop there. The messaging between this White House and that White House sounds almost identical. Just listen to this report that was on WRAL at the time.
Spending cuts to pay for tax cuts, with no new cuts in Medicare and Social Security. I call on Congress to meet that same responsibility in their deliberations.
Over the next several months, we will be looking at every other agency and program, asking the direct question, do we really need this agency? Do we really need this program?
The report then goes on to list all of the different agencies that could see job cuts or be streamlined into a single agency. It all sounds very familiar, doesn't it? I mean, in the end, this effort by the Clinton administration led to 400,000 job cuts, $146 billion in savings. Compare that to Doge, which claims to have saved $115 billion, and according to an estimate from the New York Times, cut about 100,000 jobs. So yeah, the messaging and the results appear very similar. The big difference, though, is the approach. Trump's program has done all of this in 2 months. Clinton's program lasted 7 years. It started in 1993. The White House called on 400 federal workers to reinvent government. That was their task. They held town halls with workers from every federal agency, asking them what they could do and how it could be improved. It took 9 months to then form a plan and present it to the public. In 1994, that plan started to take shape. They used buyouts to eliminate workers. They passed laws through Congress to reshape agencies, and they did this thing called Hammer Awards, where they recognized federal employees who came up with any significant changes. And yes, they actually did give them a hammer as a trophy. This is what it looked like. It was a $6 hammer in a frame with a red, white, and blue ribbon. It was joined with a letter from President Clinton. This is a photo from the 1996 area of the Defense Contract Audit Agency when they won their Hammer Award. So things appeared to be heading in the direction they wanted them to head in. And here's how Clinton put it in his 1996 State of the Union address.
The era of big government is over.
What was it, though? What is it over? Here we are 30 years later, and efficient government is back on the to-do list. When it comes to this comparison, it's clear that the messaging is pretty similar, but the approach is much different. Should we move quickly, making more change in less time, correcting missteps as we go? Or should we move slowly, considering all the details and maybe risk a couple of opportunities being missed along the way? Look, everything I just laid out, it really only does scratch the surface. This is a huge story. Those other articles I pointed to at the beginning of this segment went into much greater detail. If you're interested, I recommend you go ahead and give those a read. What else do you want us to talk about here on WRAL News at 7 o'clock? What other topics deserve a more in-depth look? Send me an email, dan@wral.com. Tell me what's on your mind, and we'll go in depth.